Greetings, race fans, and a big welcome back to Deviant Racing. It's been a while, but we're back for the next round. The what is it? The fifth round of season 5.2. We only have 6 this season, but this is how things are looking. Top left of your screen, we've got Glovas leading the championship, but just by the 1 point, including the drop scores on the left-hand side there, ahead of TX and Zen with Komakopa. Zen and Komakopa joint third positions. Then there's a little gap to joint fifth, Junkai and Izzy. And Preston, would you believe? And then we have Chaotica in 8th place, K Morris, Dollars or Astonishing and Aussie, all above the provisional relegation line. It's not a guaranteed relegation though. It's Floody, Cookies and Cream and Vic who currently sit below that line. In terms of the teams, Team Crayola continue to lead the championship on 201 points, ahead of Team Texas on 150. It's changed in the midfield. The ODs, the original Deviants, have gone up 2 positions and are now sitting on 126, but only 1 away from, now this is Pod Racing, Maple Star have 110, Space Cowboy 76, and Anaerobic Naturals on 54. I hope everyone's doing well. Qualifying is about to get underway. Say hello if you're watching with us live. Just want to absolutely double check because I completely forgot to radio check at the start. So reassure me, would you, that we've got some audio coming through. I do very much hope so. And I can see how things are looking at this stage anyway. So let's just do my own audio check. Yeah, we've got some voice there. That's good. Good to know. So excellent to see. Hi to Binkit there as well. Good to see you. We'll have a look at some racing cars, just getting themselves ready, of course, for this qualifying session. We are at Monza today, the beautiful Cathedral of Speed, here, home of the Tifosi. As you can see already, Komakopa first out on track, although it's just a practice session at the moment. Beautiful big blue skies for our session, as we will get ourselves ready for the race, for qualifying at least anyway. Looks like a fairly low afternoon sun actually. We've got 4 time multipliers going on. As we can see, there is Komakopa, possibly first out of the pits. There you have it, very nice in the Lexus. Hi to Roy Mustang. I don't know if we have, if we're going to have Junior with us, or Junior is busy training for his race in the GTD. The GT4 cars, of course. Headlights are on, weirdly, for Komakopa, so it is indicative of a fairly low sun, fairly low amount of light on the circuit here for everybody. We've got that. We've got Aussie for the Maple Stars here. The combination, of course, between Canadian and American drivers. As Komakopa is the first one out there. I've just realised I've got absolutely no game sound going through my head, and I'm wondering whether you don't have any games. It seems to say you do have some game sound, so that's at least good. So I will double check with that. Quite sure why I've got nothing, but it looks like you've got a little bit there. I'll go on board and you can just double check for me, or I can do it on my second device here. I'm just watching. Yeah, all good, all good. Okay, excellent. Right, well, the laps are nearly ready to go. Obviously, short laps here. In our, nope. I thought qualifying had started because we went straight back to the pits, but it's just the driver I happen to be watching who'd gone. You can just see our new Deviant, very German-looking safety car there. As very much an unsafe release there going on as well. Looks like we've got Chaotica, who might be the first one out on the track here for his Space Cowboys team. It's terrible bright orange Cheeto curbs here at Monza. Special conditions today. It's been a bit of a season of special conditions for our drivers, as we're experimenting with different settings. Today's idea is that we will be going for heavy damage at Monza. So I'm not sure who thought that was a good idea, but I do think we may end up with drivers in the pits, because damage around Monza not only is very likely, but it's also very costly. It can really hurt your top speed, and especially your handling around high downforce long corners such as Parabolica, and possibly a little bit through Ascari, which doesn't need any additional problems, does it, Ascari? Junior is at the beach, says Roy Mustang. He'll be back before his race. Excellent. Okay, well, hopefully he's managed to get the sand out of his toes, because you don't want to be trying to operate a race pedal with some irritation going on. But here is on board with Chaotica as we get ready for that first flying lap. Nice clear track in front and behind. Just the safety car in the pit lane. 10-minute qualifying as ever. Into Parabolica we go. Tip the car in. See if you can deal with, if you've chosen the correct entry speed, it should be a very, very straightforward, gentle application of the throttle, especially on the soft tyres. But if you do oversteer or overspeed into Parabolica, which is of course very, very tempting, you can then end up with a bit of a slide going on. So here we go, down into the Rettifilio chicane, the first of our two major chicanes at the start of the lap. Little touch on the inside Cheeto, staying well clear of it on the outside. Very, very different grip amounts on the exit of the Rettifilio. Now we're into Curva Grande, flat out of course, in all but the rarest of race cars, including the one I'm currently have selected. That's a perfect line through the start of the Della Roggia chicane. I think we maybe got a little bit much, but straddling the Cheeto curb is a beautiful way to go through this. Through Lesmo 1 we go now. Zen saying, should be interesting to see if anyone gets damaged. I'm pretty sure someone will get damaged then, absolutely. Nice little hop on the Lesmo 2 curb down the, this is actually Curva di Seraglio, absolutely nothing corner, just a flat out section underneath the old concrete racetrack oval section there, and then into Ascari. You do not want to be touching those black and yellow curbs, but a little nudge on the tyre wall on each of the three apexes through there is very advantageous. Just went past the penalty marker if the drivers have any issues during the race. We're already back around to Parabolica. Nice yoke steering wheel arrangement in the cabin here. Can't quite see it very clearly, but completely over the apron. This is registered as the racetrack, a 150.297 as Junkai goes faster. Here comes Copa across the line into second position. Izzy's gone straight into the pit lane, didn't like his outlap as Aussie goes into P4. Go back to Preston on the road anyway, who's running in well, I selected 6, but it looks like he is going to drop back slightly here. Here he is dropping down because Globus has gone 6th, astonishing 7th, and Machina has gone into P8, riding very wide on board with Preston here as we go to cross the line. Preston actually only just starting his hot lap. Izzy's in a similar position, so your top 3 at the moment, Junkai, Copa and Chaotica. Let's ride with Junkai this time. I'm not sure if he's going for a second hot lap or it's out, hot and in again. Oh, big thank you to Roy Mustang there. Very very much appreciated. As he said, close field today, go Team Crayola, says Roy Mustang. So absolutely happy to give you that shout out there. In we go to Ascari, little flick of the fingers as we downshift. I hate that. It's so obvious when you're driving an open cockpit car as well. But hey, never mind. It appeared in last winter's update with the CGV and Yas Marina tracks. It's never been fixed or gone away. Right, I'm going to have fun with this one. Here comes Junkai then across the pit lane entry and towards the line. Chaotica goes new pole position, 49.6, first driver in the 49s. Junkai is second. Komakopa is coming through to take second place off Junkai. Personal best by 0.3 of a second. But yes, what have we got? Kaua Marca Larau Joelias Dialm. Let's go pod racers. Can I shorten that to Kaua? Something like that. Aussie in P6 and K Morris in 7th. He now takes P6. You're going to have to help me out there, Kaua, because I don't know how to pronounce your name or whether you've changed that. Call me K2 Mars, of course. That makes sense. Yes. K2. Awesome. Need to put a couple Ks at the start of your name, and then I'll know exactly who you are. So thank you for that. Yeah. Obrigado. So it is Chaotica who has the fastest lap in the Lamborghini. I'm not sure if the Lamborghini crew get that extra brake horsepower that the Ferraris do here at Monza. As we head down the back straight, down towards Ascari next. We're just on an outlap at the moment. Treat those front tyres gently, but make sure you're getting enough tyre temperatures for your hot lap. And just see where Globus is. He's just got into second place at 49.7. Super close then. We have 3 drivers in the 49s now. Komakopa only just right there as he comes through Parabolica. Wouldn't be surprised if we now head in towards the pit lane. No, we're staying out, staying on those tyres. Tyres not getting a huge workout. Another personal best. Doesn't get up onto the front row, unfortunately, for Komakopa, but Globus is chasing down that Chaotica time by just 0.08 of a second is all he needs. And there it is, by half a second, in fact. Globus takes pole at this stage on a 1:49.202. Amazing. So, Chaotica heading back to second position. Izzy's now in third, just pipping Komakopa. So Komakopa wearing through those softs. Preston goes up to fourth, in between our, I would say, our 2 VR drivers, but at least the 2 drivers who put VR in their name, as well as far as my information, Preston also races in VR. Chaotica still needs half a second to be anywhere near Globus here, who has the pole position. Let's ride on board with Globus. Do we coast and take it easy? I don't think so. The joy of getting an early hot lap in like that is that you can now stretch the envelope even further with 0 risk. You can absolutely throw the car around this circuit now, and if you bin it, well, you've already got a fantastic lap on the register. What am I thinking? On the docket, maybe, is what I'm thinking. Risking the black and yellow curbs there is Globus as he comes through Ascari. That's aggressive, but no loss that I could make out there. So down the long straight prior to Parabolica. In we go. Nice early apex. Run it out nice and wide. There's so much grip out wide if you take the right line. However, right line is somewhat difficult. Stays to the right hand side though, just shaving a metre or 2 off the actual distance between the exit of Parabolica and the start finish line. Globus no quicker this time. Komakopa has gone into P3 now with 15 seconds on our clock, and just as I say it, Chaotica goes third. Izzy up to the front row. Fantastic performance from Izzy. Now just 0.2 of a second, just under, away from Globus. A little wild moment there from the Aston Martin in front of Izzy on the racetrack, but it's Globus, Izzy, Chaotica, Komakopa, Preston, Junko, TX, and Aussie. Down we go into Della Roggia, which, as far as I know from my very limited Italian, means to the right. But the chicane actually starts with a left turn. So I'm somewhat confused by that. I need someone more closely affiliated with the Italian language. I often say the only Italian I know is Forza Ferrari. Heading underneath that overpass again. This is our pole sitter, Globas. But he has got a penalty on the car this time out. Chaotica comes through Ascari. He's got a penalty on the car, so he's clearly pushing very, very hard. I don't know if Preston will make it around until the before the line and the stopwatch has gone dead. We're up to 11 minutes of the 10-minute session already. Obviously crossing the line in the dying seconds, but he's what is he, 69 thousandths of a second away from Komakopa's P4, and of course the second row of the grid. Big tank slapper going on in front of him. He just about managed to ignore that. Certainly looked like the car was behaving. Globas in P2. But it's, sorry, Globas on pole. Preston in 5th right now. See if this last car to cross the start-finish line in the top group here, will that buy him any more time? It's no good. In fact, it was 3.9 seconds worse than he'd been before. Just trying to find who our remaining driver is on the circuit. Here comes Makina, and that is a 2:05.1. Why are these drivers still out on laps and costing us our race time? Who knows? Anyway, Globas, a 1:49.202, takes the pole position ahead of the somewhat military coloured, well, it's not military, is it? But the Jaguar, the Jag, by Izzy, there in this sort of matte dusty green. I think that is episode 6 of the Star Wars, episode 5 of the Star Wars franchise. Chaotica in 3rd and Komakopa in P4, occupying second row of the grid, with Preston ahead of Junkai on row 3. Row 4 is TX and Aussie, the first of our non-United States drivers there, and the only one of our non-United States drivers in today's 12-driver race. It's K. Morris in 9th, Astonishing in 10th, Makina in 11th, and then we have our safety car driver in the Nissan GTR in the German or Belgian colour scheme there. Boba Fett possibly, says Zen. So we'll have a look. I did see a Rebellion insignia on the car, but we'll of course get into it during the race. Hopefully we will get a safety car. I think we are having an announced safety car lap as usual. There you have it from Sully. Thank you so much. Safety car lap 10, reading my mind. Big thank you for that. So that's quite early in the safety car procedure. Just keeping my eye on the lobby chat for now, just to check whether we're going to get an announcement of a start time. Don't forget, coming up after this race will be the GTD in the GT4 cars, very quickly afterwards. Hards and mediums are required today. That doesn't mean they can't use softs. They just have to use the hards and the mediums through the race. Just for one racing lap even will be enough. We are often seeing a little bit of refueling happening at the moment. I'll just have a quick look. Any other settings? Weather is set to random. And we've got that 4x speed multiplier. So for anyone who wonders exactly the conditions of the race, there they were. But it's Monza. It's late afternoon. It's a very hazy looking summer's day in Italy. We get ready for the race then to come. Hopefully you can give me any predictions you might make. But qualifying positions will be Globas and Izzy on the front row of the grid. So we're getting ready. Chaotica told us we were starting soon rather than a time. So that usually means very soon indeed. And I've just reminded myself I have to keep doing some credit grinding because I still haven't bought any of the new GTP cars. So that's what the hypercars. That's what I'm looking for. We had an absolute blast on Wednesday. This week. Have a look in the previous live streams for our race with these RA272s from 1965. So have a look, check that out if you're interested. In VR, of course, as well. Two VR POVs flying during the stream. And of course our race radio as well. Here we go, dropping down the clock. Time for our 1 hour GTDPRO round 5 of the 6 race championship, as we get ready then for our fabulous race. Hope you are all comfortable getting ready for the round. I will just hit the pause button on the ads. So I've remembered for once. There we go. Please remind me with 10 minutes to go. It is 5 red lights on. Team Crayola leading for Globus ahead of the pod racers. It's drop the clutch. It's go, go, go. And a nice even start, although it looks like the NASA Lamborghini Huracan is struggling away from the line. Not the best of starts there, as Globus owns the middle of the track and Izzy gets down into the braking zone. Remember, we've got heavy damage on the cars. We have seen a little bit of shunting there, back and forth. No major accident or incident, as the safety car just keeps a close eye on everybody. Globus leads ahead of Izzy, just as they were from the start line, but Preston in 3rd and Chaotica in 4th position. And Comacopa in the Les Bleus French football team colours is currently in 5th place ahead of TX. Globus into Della Roggia. We've got Izzy's Jaguar there, just powering out of Della Roggia chicane and in towards Lesmo 1. And Izzy is hot on the heels here, because Globus has the hard tyres, which are going to be very difficult to get up to temperature. Chaotica likewise, that probably explaining some of his slow getaway. Comacopa typically on the hard tyres as well at the start of the race. That looked like Aussie having a problem getting out of the corner there, and just losing a position to John Kai, the OD OD livery of the original Deviants there, ahead of then K Morris, TX, Astonishing, and Machina, with our Saito, of course, following back. Machina with a San Antonio Spurs livery on the car there. Yeah, definitely a Rebellion insignia on the Izzy car today. Heading down into Parabolica to finish out lap 1. Globus with a slightly earlier turn-in. Might be wondering whether the rear end of his Chevy is going to turn around on him here on the way out of Parabolica on the hard tyres. Heavy fuel as well, but Izzy looking like he's got a really good run here down. And there's the slipstream in action. To the inside we go. And that is a great place to be for Izzy as we challenge for the lead of the race. He's got that inside line. He's actually got the overlap, so it's going to be very difficult for Globus to take the Verstappen line around the outside of turn 1. And Izzy into the lead. A beautiful manoeuvre that time. And I'll just replay further back. You can see the other Crayola Chevy there really struggling. Heading down in towards the chicane we go. Massive Ferrari sticker on the back of the 458 Italia there for Team Maple Stars. And then you'll see really struggling to get away there, unfortunately, but making it okay. I saw contact, says Zen. So Zen's got the magnifying glass out. Not between the leaders, I'm sure, here. They look very, very clean. But it's Izzy ahead of Globus. Preston in 3rd. So fantastic start for the Jaguars here. Then we've got Chaotica in P4 and Comacopa in 5th place, just settling in as he often does at the start of the races. Very little drama from Comacopa. Our most recent winner, of course, in Le Mans. And we've got K Morris in 8th and TX in the Renault RS04 with the Alpine stickers on in P8. TX in 9th, Machina in 10th, and Astonishing at the back in the Lamborghini on the hard tyres like as well. Izzy making good use of the medium tyres. Looks like Preston might be on the same strategy as his teammate, and indeed he is. So getting very close to the back of Globus, who takes that early turn in, almost catches Preston unawares there. Wasn't quite prepared for that. Very scarred up Slave 1 Boba Fett livery. Love to see it there on Preston's car. We'll get very close to that later on. Chaotica in 4th and Comacopa in 5th. John Kai 6th, Aussie 7th, and K Morris in 8th as the leaders come down towards the Rettifilio chicane, and it is a carbon copy of the attempt at least, but this time Globus sufficiently in front to turn across the start of the Rettifilio chicane. Preston has to bide his time and hang on here. Preston, though, does have the fastest lap of the race in lap 2 at 1:51.288. Yes, we said Curious Kai saying Space Cowboys paying homage to Apollo and Artemis missions. I feel I'm going to be representing Challenger. Oh dear, yes. The less said about Challenger, the better. I think, especially with heavy damage on today. It has, so far, meant that the drivers have been pretty careful. We will see. Ascari, it doesn't really matter how careful you are through Ascari. If you're trying to be on the pace, you are on the very edge. Gucci branding for the Monza round here of the TX's entry, and there's the NASA Artemis and Apollo mission color scheme, reminiscent of course of the space suits. Izzy leads by 1.5 seconds ahead of Globas in P2. Preston is third, and then I think, well, I was going to say that they're getting away slightly from P4 and 5, but actually they're doing okay. Chaotica in fourth, only 1 second away. Comacopa's still with him, could do with maybe a little bit of a bump draft there for him as try and bring them forward. Here comes Preston to the inside. Globas might decide to give him this so that he can get a good drive off the corner, but it does look like Globas is on the outside. It's going to cover more ground. They won't be giving slipstreams up to each other here. Izzy might be keeping an eye on his rear view mirror, but Preston already across there, and there you can see a car length at least is the distance saving coming through Parabolica and staying to the right hand side as they were doing in qualifying as well. Here comes John Kai to the inside ahead of Ozzy in the Ferrari. Great overtake from him, and you can see K Morris. I think he's really struggling today with this Chevy. I think it's not, the setup doesn't appear to be quite what you would normally expect from him in terms of performance. Izzy leads by 2.5 seconds now, having picked up a purple sector and the fastest lap through the lap 3, as we stay as long as we can on this static camera. Absolutely love it. Aussie there in 7th, TX in 8th, K Morris in 9th, Machina in 10th, and Astonishing out in 11th position. Izzy comes through Parabolica, absolutely on fire right now, loving this this setup for the Jag in Monza as we head down the back straight towards the old track and then into the Ascari corner, and he's up even on his best time so far. Medium tyres at the front though, the front two here for the pod racers. Hard tyres for Globas and Chaotica. Globas looking like he's got amazing pace at this stage on the hard tyres, as you would expect there with the pole position as well. Comacopa had a good exit out of Ascari, especially when you compare it to Chaotica's run. I wonder if Chaotica had a little problem through the Ascari corner. Let's have a look. Not that we could see, nothing particularly special. No, it was just a penalty to pay, a time penalty there, which is explaining the sudden drop in pace. Junkai in 6th with Aussie, closely followed by TX here in that Gucci colour scheme. Perhaps a preview of what the new Alpine Gucci branding might look like next season in F1. Have seen some great ideas with the Gucci racing stripes, looking very, very good out there as well on Instagram. Don't quite know why I pressed that button. My apologies, folks. I was trying to get back to our trackside camera. There we go. And it's John Kai in 6th there, just behind with Chaotica in front of him, chasing down Comacopa after that small penalty. Izzy still leads ahead of Preston and Globas into our Ascari, no, our Della Roggia chicane, forgive me, as you've got John Kai there, sun glinting off the beautiful OD's livery. And obviously gone for the high gloss stickers everywhere as well. And here is Chaotica then in the all new NASA orange. I'd like to see it. I think they've got like a starscape on the hood as well. There's Comacopa, flush with confidence, I'm sure, although Le Mans is quite a distant memory. I think it's 3 weeks we've been waiting for in between races here. And as Comacopa put it, he chose to go with the French football team livery to drive it in Monza, just to remind the Italian fans who's good at football, I think, as the way he wanted to put it. Izzy leads by 3.2 seconds now on the way through and out of Parabolica. Lots of dust off the main racetrack there. And he comes through again. Another fast lap from him, a 50.223. So far, the gaps are opening quite considerably. We do have a good bit of running here. Junkai, Aussie and TX. Keep an eye on these guys for now anyway. 50 minutes still to go. Of course, it's a 1 hour endurance race. We're expecting the safety car on lap 10, which is way too early for the drivers to be thinking about, you know, trying to do, I think, possibly even a two-stop. If you start on the hard tyres, you're really hampered then in terms of how you can utilise that best. I would have thought a start on the softs might have been doable, but maybe it's slightly out of reach. If you stopped on, say, lap 9, could you possibly do 9 laps on a set of softs in these warm Italian conditions, I wonder? As we go back and have a look at TX on the hood cam here. Oh, we've got a big problem there for, I want to say it's Chaotica. It is Chaotica, unfortunately. Let's go back and see what happened to him as he, oh, it's just out of shape through the Della Roggia chicane. And then he is waiting, unfortunately. And another little nudge there from the rear, I think, possibly from Junkai. So problems compounding for Chaotica, who's actually... No, he's not stuck out there. Having wheel issues, says Kuros Kai. Interesting, can't change gear. So that is probably not being helped by people shoving him around the corner. But there it is. Back to live action we will go, as we see Izzy still leading by 3.8 seconds. Looks like this might be yet another fastest lap. No, not quite, 2:94. So he's slowing up drastically. Glovas in third, Copa here in fourth place, and then Aussie and TX fighting hard here. TX has got a good run on Aussie, as we see. Wait for the slipstream, which is going to be hard because the Renault RS04 is a taller race car, so slipstream not as effective for him, perhaps as a shorter, more aerodynamically sound GT3 race car, like a wedge-shaped Huracan, for example. Then we've got K Morris. Even the Chevy's a lot more aerodynamic. K Morris in 7th, Machina in 8th. And the gaps at the back really opening up now as Astonishing in 9th, and Chaotica would not have been looking for 9th and 10th at this stage. Junkai has pitted though, and come in very, very early. I wonder if that was a damage repair situation for him, and he could already feel a problem on the car. Let me know if you have that information in the live chat. Then let me know exactly what was going on there. Very early pit stop from Junkai. We're going to really enjoy looking at this new livery from the Team Crayola designer Glovas, designing his own car, of course. He's done so much design work this season, as he often does, but this Crayola team name and sponsorship has really lit a creative spark underneath of Glovas. So really looking forward to seeing more of that later on. During the safety car period, we usually do our livery review. But TX looks like he's got possibly a good amount more grip here than Aussie, but just can't unlock it because the Ferrari walks away from him under full speed. Let's go on board with TX and see if we can get that slipstream working that little bit better this time. Looks pretty good. He's actually going to bump draft Aussie instead of trying for the overtake, I think, there. You don't want to be bump drafting anybody close to the braking zone, certainly not in the middle of the corner. Unfortunately, TX misjudging that one. No harm to himself or Aussie's cars, thankfully, as well. With this full damage, this full heavy damage, that means that the car's damaged slightly more easily, but most importantly, the damage is permanent until you pit for repairs. Machina's in 8th, Astonishing is in 9th, Chaotica with some wheel issues changing gear. So we're hearing in P10, Junkai on his new medium tyres flies past our almost static camera in 11th place there and comes through. Izzy leads by 4 seconds now. It's somewhat academic leading at this stage because of course we do have in terms of how much time you have accrued as your lead, because of course that will be drastically cut. This is lap 8. I think the drivers are free to pit on at the end of this one only, and then the pit lane will close at the end of lap 9 because it will be safety car lap during lap 10. Zen saying, I don't think it occurs any more easily, it's just permanent. Okay. My experience would suggest otherwise, but you are far more experienced than I am, so that would I will definitely cede to your expertise there, Zen. I'm not going to start an argument with you for sure. Izzy comes in P1, Preston follows him in P2, and actually Globus shedding the hard tyres as well. Be trying to divide the race up into 2 more equal parts after this, I would have thought. Komakopa is going to stay out and stay on his hard tyres, and he's got a decent amount of fuel, but the safety car will be out at the end of the next lap. TX in second. Globus is in the pits. Izzy is probably just about to come out. He is. Only put in a small amount of fuel, Izzy. About 60%, 60 litres of fuel into the car, or at least topped up to that amount. And it's come out on hard tyres, so doesn't want to use those very much at all. But you can see Izzy and then Preston. Preston has actually brimmed the tank with fuel and has gone for the hard tyres. So he's doing a different strategy to the faster of the 2 drivers in the team today. We shall see who will actually end up making the right call. Now Globus has fully filled the fuel tank and has switched onto the medium tyres. So that is going to be both shorter life tyres and more weight on the car. So I've never really understood that approach, but there it is. Obviously less stationary time later, but surely the weight penalty is too great during the race. Komakopa and TX have not pitted on hard and medium tyres respectively. TX in his Gucci Alpine with Izzy in P3 with a very comfortable lead. Now because of his underfueling versus his teammate Preston, Izzy has extended his gap by 7 seconds. That is just the amount of stationary time with the refueling rate that we operate here at Deviant. That is the situation for him. So the pit lane should now, I believe, be closed as the safety car it will be headed on out. And here he is, just in time, because that Lexus is going to be flying up very, very quickly at full speed. Safety car limited to 70 miles an hour, 113 kilometers an hour, as we will have a good look at our new liveries then, and a close look at maybe some ones we've already seen. So we've got a football player. I'm assuming that that is Kylian Mbappe on the front hood there for Komakopa. Of course, the 2 stars above the Coq Sportif, symbolising 2 World Cup victories for France during the World Cup history, of course. Still in the championship as things stand are France. They're coming up on a match against Spain. Great rivals Spain, of course, very soon. Alpine Gucci is the TX Speedstars livery. This is very, very Gucci. Very Gucci indeed. And I've, well, certainly it's going to bring plenty of money to the French squad. Don't quite know how Komakopa feels about having that Gucci card directly behind him. Then we've got the first of our, now this is pod racing liveries today. This is definitely Rebellion X-Wing, I think. But there's a lot of scarring and battle dirt and wear on the car as well. So I do love it when the drivers go for all these extra little bits here, just to give a really nice used feel to the liveries. And then talk about scarred up and chipped. That's what this one looks like. This reminiscent, of course, of the Slave 1 colour scheme of the spaceship for Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi. Sorry, Empire Strikes Back it will be, as we come through then. Then we will have a look as we get into some sunshine at this beautiful new Crayola comic book version of the livery. I love the little featuring Webbo comms on the back wing as well. Thank you so much for that. Just on the back quarter, Deviant Comics Group. livery number 388, he's claiming. But yeah, really, really cool to see the amount of time and effort that goes in, as always, here. We've seen the Maple Stars livery, that is maple syrup dripping down off the roof. And then we've got more of a patchwork quilt, 4th of July approach there, celebrating the 250th year of the United States of America, of course. Although I only recently found out it's just the northeastern corner of the United States of America, actually 250 years old, the original Union. And then we've got our orange and white NASA livery here for the Artemis and Apollo mission colours here for our Space Cowboys team. So the drivers are going to stay out for a few minutes more as they get ready then for a second safety car lap. Kuroskai planning there. They need to make an Alderaan livery, just a smoking crater. You know, one big explosion, bits of Alderaan everywhere. So Zen saying the mediums will probably last as long as a full fuel tank here. Interesting, okay. Supposed to be indoor camo, says Zen, maybe. Let's have another check of that then, shall we? I've hit the wrong key again. Let's get hold of that. We've had some pit stops going. So yeah, maybe that absolutely does support what you were saying, because now having gone into the pit lane, Globus, I'm just looking for Izzy. Where has Izzy gone? There he is. Izzy has switched back onto the medium tyres and has refueled on the second safety car lap. That's put him down to P9. TX went in with him, and then Komakopa stayed out. He's gone for a full tank of fuel in the medium tyres as well in his blue French football kit, of course. Not Preston, Izzy. Yes. Here in the Endor Rebellion livery option. I don't know if it's more Dagobah swamp dirt on the car, actually, thinking about it. maybe. I do wish I'd got a livery briefing from some of our drivers. I do like having a surprise each time we come to it, but it would be nice to know all the details. I should probably have checked out the Only Liveries channel in Deviant Racing. If you do want to join Deviant Racing, there's a link in the description today as we get ready for season 5.3. Each calendar year divided by season numbers, and then by part season number mini seasons. Usually we operate six counting races for 7 rounds, but this time we're going for 5 counting races for 6 rounds, and then we have 3 mini seasons over each calendar year. Here is Aussie, of course. Clearly we're in the 5th year of Deviant. So coming through Parabolica, the lights are still on the safety car for the time being. I would imagine we're hoping that those get turned off very quickly. Well, certainly Globus is expecting to restart, and he slows everybody right down through Parabolica. That has really helped his teammate K Morris, who might be starting to switch on a bit now, getting the early difficult low grip laps out from under his belt, and he's back on, and he's challenging here for P2. He's already got P2 before they get into the braking zone, so he's ahead. He just needs to try and follow his leader through the next corner. Chaotica struggling, and he's in 5th place behind his teammate now, but he's trying to hold off Preston, who's on the medium tyres with a full tank of fuel. Junkai now just ahead of Izzy, but the tiniest margin. Izzy on brand new tyres. Junkai's on used mediums. Shouldn't buy Izzy too much in the way of performance, but look at that. Around the outside of Curva Grande, down we go in towards Della Roggia. We can afford to be very late on the brakes, perhaps not quite that late from Izzy, as he then struggles to get back to the racing line, and we will then see a change around for TX, who sneaks his way by there on this restart lap. Keep your eye then on the braking there. It did look like they braked at roughly the same point, but Izzy, actually it was the curb that fired him off in towards Junkai. Tried to close this line off for for the Alpine driver. Didn't quite make it stick, and very, very close to disaster up there. That point in towards Ascari, going too wide into Ascari was Preston, and astonishing. Preston yielding eventually, but not before getting a little bit of more paint scuffed off the car. Just checking for any damage on the cars at this stage. No damage on the cars, as we have K Morris around the outside, holding on to the racing line just about. Late apex though for K Morris. That will hurt him as they slingshot out of Parabolica and get hot on the pace. Hi to Nigel, who's watching in the chat as well from a different league, catching on here because his league is on break right now. Glovas 1.6 seconds leads the race ahead of his teammate K Morris, who's doing his utmost to stay ahead of Aussie, who's very keen to get that P2 back. As we head down into the Rettifilio chicane, and the sleeves are being rolled up a little bit here. You see a little bit of throttle oversteer on the rearmost runner there, but it's Preston in P5 now, trying to get himself back into the big point paying positions. He's on a different strategy to most of the cars in front of him though. And Preston turns in. You've got Chaotica and Astonishing, who's around slightly. Can he hold it? No. While he's he's absolutely T-boned by the Alpine driver of TX, and TX can't really see anything what was going on into Della Roggia, I don't believe. Let's have a look. He's got his own fight he's dealing with. Izzy on the inside takes a fairly straightforward route here. Can see it all going wrong, but I think the NASA Lamborghini was unsighted to him, and he's now got permanent damage until he goes into the pit lane, and that's a long way off on the new hard tyres here. He'll be trying to get to a point where he can get the mediums home, but he's already slowing, already losing a place out to Komakopa, who moves up into P7, and there just confirming Zen saying TX has front damage. Exactly. I think I mentioned that. I certainly thought it as we head down towards Parabolica then. And you've got side-by-side action. This is Preston on the inside. Chaotica around the outside. They do touch. Who says netcode is appalling in Gran Turismo? You stick within your region and it's generally all right. Actually, I tend to find Chaotica in fourth. And of course, all our drivers today from the United States and Canada. Preston getting another go at Chaotica here down the outside. They'll be fairly even turning in. Looks like Chaotica was a little bit more nervous choosing his braking zone there, and it is Chaotica then down to fifth. Preston up to fourth. Globus leads ahead of K Morris. The Team Crayola Chevys looking amazing out there right now as Aussie's in P3 and a little bit on his own there in the Maple Stars livery. Izzy in sixth in our battle-hardened X-Wing. Then we've got Komakopa in 7th and TX in 8th with that damage on the front wing. We'll have a look actually at the relative top speeds down the main start-finish straight. As Makina, I think, struggling with his Renault RS04. I won't say much about the San Antonio Spurs, other than congratulations for reaching the finals. Junkai in 10th there. And astonishing. We've got a yellow flag on the car, and that's Chaotica again. Now we know he's having some mechanical issues here today, but here he goes. Flash of the lights. I think he switched onto controller by the look of that, and that's just two tires, just a tiny amount, and that is reversing directly into the lane of TX as well. He won't thank Chaotica for that at all. Here is Globus fighting with his teammate. Sorry, no, this is K Morris fighting with Aussie. So Globus has a 3-second advantage. Aussie comes straight back here after that restart shuffle to come straight back and re-challenge for P2. It's just the tiniest margin there, less than the blink of an eye between the two of them. Heading down towards Rettifilio chicane they go, and K Morris holding firm on the inside line. Everybody's got their fingers crossed for K Morris's Wi-Fi to last the race now that he's up in the podium contention positions here. Look how late an evening it is with this long shadow golden hour sunshine here at just outside of Madrid, Parque de Monza. McInerney in 8th, Junkai in 9th place. Junkai and then Chaotica still with front damage as well, just the same as TX, and astonishing back there as well. So there's 4.4 seconds thanks to the overtake. Globus has extended his lead there. So lap 15 of what will almost certainly be 30 by the look of things. Maybe even 29 depending on how we go through. Beautiful overtake, says Zen, from Aussie on K Morris. Definitely enjoying that one. This is not Globus. The two cars are approaching, I don't believe. That's actually Preston catching them now. Oh, and there goes Aussie off at the start of a scurry, not the end or midpoint of a scurry. Not often you see that, but clearly checking the mirrors. And Aussie drops back to 4th. Preston now thought he was challenging for 3rd. It's actually 2nd. This could not necessarily be the most ideal place to make a pass through Parabolica, because whatever you do, you're going to be giving up slipstream to the car behind you for the longest stretch on the racetrack here. And there you can see a little flash of the lights also from K Morris. So just moving around, trying to make sure that the slipstream attaches, getting a good slipstream. There's also an overtake coming behind Izzy, who was in the comfortable lead of the race before the pit stops, looking for the inside lane there on Aussie. Izzy makes his way by. K Morris was not able to hold off Preston either, so Preston through as well. We'll go back and have a replay of that exchange. Here it is. So if we look from Preston's point of view, that's right round the outside, just touching the edge of the marbles. And you can see what's going on behind as well. Coordinated overtakes from our, now this is Pod Racing team drivers. But Preston is now 7.1 seconds away from Globus's lead. Izzy will be very keen to try and get back into contention here, because he clearly had the pace earlier on. Albeit with Globus with the pole position and early laps led in the Chevy. So I'd love to hear from our live audience who is your pick of the livery so far today. I think Comacopas is catching my eye, but unfortunately it's too French for my liking. Sorry, Comacopa. But I also really like the paint effects on Preston's car. But for me, there's going to be zero competition as to who's got the best livery today. Unfortunately, I'll leave it to your imagination to work out that one. Izzy in 4th. Running right round the marbles on the outside, and flash of the lights there. Feels maybe like K Morris is moving around a little bit too much. But this is Izzy using his teammates' slipstream, I think. That's the plan anyway, getting the full car length ahead as they head down into Rettifilio chicane, the first chicane here at Parque de Monza. And then we have K Morris in 4th and now having to play catch up. Couldn't really re-challenge. Izzy did the overtake and then stayed on the middle of the road, not over-committing. Aussie in 5th, Comacopa in 6th position as well. And there's that glorious golden hour sunshine on the racetrack. I don't know if we'll quite get into full sunset conditions before the end of the race. Probably not. Hopping over those Cheetos out of Della Roggia. Aussie, that bought him a little bit of edge there, as well as the Venom helmet he wears today. Aussie making his way by there on the way through the approach between Rettifilio and Lesmo 1. Very unusual overtaking position. But the kiss of the Cheeto was very beneficial. Comacopa also in the Lexus, which usually has good top speed, the Lexus. Getting to the inside lane here on the approach into Ascari, but not close enough to challenge. I think we're going for the most American option possible there on K Morris's car, which is a tiny bit ironic given he races out of Jamaica. I'm not sure if it's a dual citizenship deal with K Morris. As Comacopa takes the inside lane into Parabolica, but no cigar this time. Let's have a look. Where is Globus? He's crossing the line now. 8.3 seconds ahead of Preston, who is right with Izzy as a pair of Jags come down the start-finish line. Start-finish straight even. As we've got similar but subtly different liveries. It's good to see a green Jag, I have to say, from a British perspective. Did TX repair, or is he still running damaged? Asks Zen. We'll have a check. I just want to see those manoeuvres. It's Izzy ahead of Preston now. Aussie in 4th with K Morris just in front of Copa. Junkai in 7th. TX has stayed out with the damage. It is flashing damage rather than permanently red. Wasn't a huge closing speed that the damage caused. Chaotica running damage 2 as well. 3 to 4 miles an hour slower, says Kuros Kai, which will be eliminated if we can get in a slipstream of somebody else. Chaotica is not having the best of days. Marking it in 10th and astonishing down in P11. Certainly not a good GTD Pro race here for the Space Cowboys. Excuse me, our safety car driver has departed to go get ready for his race. It's always flashing, says Zen. Right, okay. Izzy in P2 as 100 is on car number 182. And now this is about the remainder of the race. 24 minutes to catch Globus by 8.4 seconds. Seems doable. You have to say, Globus is on lighter fuel at the moment. There, Izzy in 2nd, and Preston heading on in as well. He's got less fuel on board than Izzy, but hasn't really saved quite as much as I think Izzy has done so far. Sunset is happening, it seems. It might take a while, but certainly occurring as we go over the start-finish line to start lot 19 with the top 3. Aussie, and there comes Copa following K Morris. Didn't think he was going to be close enough to challenge here, but he's certainly close enough to pressurise. And they enter into Retifilio chicane neatly. And then we've got K Morris with a good exit out of Retifilio. Is now turning defence into attack. So he goes through Curva Grande. And looks like Aussie just doing enough there to stop him taking the inside lane of the next corner. This is the Della Roggia chicane, and it's a personal best for K Morris by 0.4 of a second. Preston and Izzy still look like they are incredibly close, but we have a 3-way battle here for 4th, 5th and 6th positions. 23 minutes remain in our GTD Pro race. Copa was quick through Lesmo 1, getting the overlap, getting to the inside lane into Lesmo 2. Copa up to 5th, and characteristically for Copa, just calmly going about his business and making his way by just on sheer inherent pace here, I think. Nothing super dramatic from Copa, just calmly, almost you might say nonchalantly, progressing through after just having won the Le Mans race. Junkai in 7th is 7 seconds away from K Morris's 6th position, but is only 2.4 ahead of TX with the damage, waiting for that pit stop to come. I imagine it can't come soon enough for TX, losing speed down the main straightaways, losing grip through the corner as well. And there is Chaotica with similar damage to TX, front wing or front splitter only. As Machina in P10 and astonishing in 11th place. Globus 9 seconds in the lead of the race, and looking pretty mighty. He's gained 0.6 of a second on Izzy. Now Izzy and Preston could do with working together here, possibly even a bit of bump draft running. Try and work together to catch Globus, put the pressure on. But they're in their own championship battles as well, so there's a lot to think about for the Analysis Pod Racing team. They are only one further race away from the culmination of the championship. Izzy almost takes flight across the first Cheeto curb into Della Roggia. Drivers are attacking that curb quite hard, especially the second apex curb through Della Roggia. Just working out for now anyway. Junkai in 7th and TX in 8th place behind this group. Let's join one of our racers on board, shall we? Go on board the Chevy of K Morris. And all looking quite calm at this point of the track, but wait till we get into Ascari. See how the car is handling. Is it smooth, or is there a lot of action going on in the steering wheel? Looks like a touch of understeer going into the corner, possibly, but very smooth on the way out. Nabbing a bit of that exit curb as well. That's what was all happening with the vibrations on the car. Looking out back of K Morris's Chevy, very limited visibility out there. So coming through Parabolica corner we go. The 74 behind of Comacopa's 72. And into the pit lane come Comacopa and Aussie on the same lap. Maybe a little bit of plan A running there for both of them. But Comacopa giving up the chance to go for the overcut. As someone's hit that, well, I would say semi-permanent concrete barrier there that they use here at Monza. If you ever drive on ACC, don't try and move those barriers out of the way with your car, by the way. They are a lot heavier in ACC and cause a lot more damage than they do and are here in GT7. Izzy coming through then, chasing down his teammate. Glovas, 8.8 seconds. It's just fluctuating slightly, quite similar. Comet actually didn't pit, he was just following him through, yes. Good catch then. He was just following the car, get that last bit of slipstream and then cut back across the pit lane entry. So he is still out. There we go. So nearing the end of his fuel tank is Comacopa. Most everybody has one more pit stop to make with 19 minutes on the race clock. Personal best sector 2 from Preston, that was. Preston running well. But the gap opening in front of him to his teammate to 9/10 of a second now. Still get a little bit of slipstream. No worries on that front. And the drivers will be then figuring out when they can pit here. I think comes Glovas in. Yes, indeed. So he enters the pit with his fuel limiter on red. And having done 21 race laps. Izzy and Preston do something different from each other this time. Izzy actually had slightly less fuel than Preston, but Izzy will be trying to, I think, overcut Glovas while he's in the pits here, Glovas, and then he'll come out on cold tyres. So Izzy's job is quite clear right now. Putting the best in-lap possible, and you should be able to make a little bit of headway on the driver stopping earlier because of the difference in fuel and tyres on their exit. Comacopa in second place now. Maybe got a couple laps maximum left in the fuel in the Lexus. As not quite sure what was happening there. We've got Junkai in third and Glovas then out of the pit lane in fourth place. Now 9 seconds ahead of Preston. I think that might be a little bit more than that by the time he reaches second timing sector in common. Preston and Glovas. Junkai in third. It's the live gap we want really between Glovas and Izzy. Taking off how long it takes to stop for fuel. Now the headlights are on. Different parts of the circuit are much darker than others. I don't think the sun was actually appearing to the driver's eye line above the tree line. Of course, in the middle of a forest park is Parco di Monza. And certainly looking a lot darker from the driver's eye view here. In towards Parabolica we go with Izzy, and must be pitting now due to the fuel situation. As we continue then around and head due north on the start-finish straight. He heads into the pit lane then, 6.5 seconds ahead of Comacopa, who is likely on his way in as well. 16 minutes remain to the drivers, so they'll put in the minimum amount of fuel required to make the end of the race comfortably. We do see occasionally drivers running out of fuel. Into the pit lane comes John Kais. Looks to be certainly the more predictable setup for the drivers in terms of pit stopping. We know Glovas has already made his pit stop. It's very rare for us here at Deviant to end up, I don't know why, but to end up with a safety car on the during the first third of the racing hour. It is randomized. but it does mean that we've had much more straightforward second half of the race running. And these pit stops are only differing for the final pit stops here in the race by 1 lap or 2 between nearly everybody. Izzy then comes out of the pits. He did make a good gain. Now the gap is 7.7 seconds, so I'm estimating around a second he actually gained there staying out 1 lap longer. That will also give him a small advantage at the end of the race, 1 lap of extra fuel life. That has not been taken out of Globus's car. However, Globus with a 7.3 second lead can probably afford to treat his tyres less harshly by the end of the race. So Izzy has to use every bit of that advantage and some to make inroads into Globus's seemingly unstoppable lead at this stage of proceedings. The Jaguars are together. What kind of a gain is possible, I'm wondering here of our live audience, by bump drafting down the main straightaways? I wonder, don't know if anybody caught the controversy recently, or controversy, about LMU and the videos exposing a couple of teammates with their illegal methodology for bump drafting, essentially sacrificing one driver to cut corners so that they can get a better exit speed and then bump draft their teammate down the Mulsanne straight. Junkai in 7th, TX in 8th, Astonishing in 9th, Chaotic in 10th, and Machina in 11th is your current running order. Globus past the pit lane is extending his lead already, while Izzy has got heavy fuel and cold tyres. That hasn't helped him too much. You see a big difference in the windshield banner design between the two Jaguars for now this is pod racing team. The 182 here of Izzy, just still not quite at one with the capabilities, the rear axle of the Jaguar. Hopefully the grip will come to him later on. You can see Komakopa 15.6 seconds away from the ultimate lead of the race, held by Globus. And then we've got Izzy out in what is that, P2 there, ahead of his teammate Preston. I really hate those concrete movable barrier sections here at Monza. Really spoils the look of the racetrack and can really ruin your day as well when you hit them. Aussie in 5th. So far, so good in terms of damage. Just a couple of cars with notable damage here through the course of the race. It really hasn't been quite as dramatic as perhaps we might have feared. Now, sometimes that is how things work. You let everybody know that there is a higher risk, like into turn 1 in Monza, for example, or in a driver briefing, you sort of call out a whole bunch of risk behaviors. Sometimes drivers think, yes, I will take it more carefully. Sometimes they really don't. So it's about 50-50, I would say. Astonishing in 9th, Chaotica in 10th. A day to forget for the Space Cowboys here, but they'll still be picking up points. It's about maximising your worst days rather than how many good days you end up with, I think, a lot of the time over the course of a season. Deviant do pick quite short seasons here. As I was mentioning earlier, 6 or 7 races usually over the course of a mini season. Oh, you can see Preston just losing the rear traction slightly on the way out. Might have been a touch offline, but not quite sure why else the car would leave like that. Just a little bit of a heavy right foot situation, I think, possibly. Lap 25 with 11.5 minutes to go overall. Komakopa in 4th. Looking good. Komakopa at the moment, dropping underneath 16 seconds to the race lead, but 6 seconds out to Preston. Looks like he won't be able to follow up his Le Mans win with another podium. But obviously we do have a bit of water to flow under the bridge until the end of the race. I'm very surprised to see Komakopa or any football fan at this World Cup putting FIFA on the car in support of the organisation. Although I suppose as a top tier nation tends to seems to be the way through the World Cup. I don't know how much everybody watches or has enjoyed the World Cup at this point that's watching right now. I have hardly had any, but my eldest is a very knowledgeable footy fan. Gives me the breakdown of what's currently going on. But even I'm picking up some controversy around officiating this World Cup for the bigger supporting nations. 10 minutes to go then, 10 minutes 20 on the clock. Globas crosses the line, then he is running metronomically in the 1 minute 50s. So I think that will be 11 laps to go. No, 6 laps to go. I can never do maths when I'm commentating. I struggle when I'm not. I'm fully focused on the job. Here is Izzy in P2 then. His gap to Globas, 7.7 seconds, which is difficult to say quickly. But there we have it, over Della Roggia. And a purple sector for Izzy as the sun continues to dip. And the sky starts to become a mix of blues and oranges for the sunset here. Been an enthralling race so far as we go through. Got some close running further back here. Aussie in 5th, K Morris in 6th, and John Kai could still change positions here before the end of the race. John Kai and Komakopa forming the original Deviants, OD's driver pairing here at GTDPRO. And there you have K Morris, 2 wheels off, out of Lesmo 2. That will be an absolute cakewalk for John Kai, who goes by. And of course, K Morris's top speed will be significantly hampered down there. John Kai gets a personal best nonetheless, so he was on a hot lap anyway as he runs through Ascari and now has 6th place, 0.7 of a second ahead of K Morris. Make that 9 now after Ascari. K Morris understandably a little bit nervous coming through Ascari after having a problem through Lesmo 2. Certainly will wake you up a little bit if you were starting to drift in your focus levels. TX is in 8th. No longer is the Gucci front splitter damaged. That is close to a penalty on the white line, if not slightly over it for TX. I'll just stay with him and see if we do pick up a penalty, but no, he managed to stay. Let's have a look. How close did he come to a penalty there? Keep your eye on the right hand wheels of the car as we come through. They have to stay on the white line. Oh, very nice. That is what you would call optimal. If you can repeat it. I certainly wouldn't be able to repeat that. I think I would take that as due warning not to do the same thing again. Chaotica in 9th. Makina is in 10th in the San Antonio Spurs RSO4 livery, followed by Astonishing. Still the cars, all cars close to one another, with the exception probably of Globas is the furthest away from anybody, 8.2 seconds. Then the rest of it, I'm certainly going to stay on the lead lap here. That's a penalty for Izzy coming. That's just half a second though. You might not even quite notice that if you're not running with somebody else. You can stay in gear as you come through. It's 4th, 5th. No, he actually decides to drop down to 4th. It was quite significant by the time he got there. Preston is in 3rd place. A very good payday for the pod racers today. 2nd and 3rd. Didn't really look in qualifying like Globas was going to have it quite this straightforward out there out front, but he has been very, very strong. We see the odd times people like Komakopa, Preston, Izzy above the 1 minute 50s, 1 minute 51 occasionally, and certainly 2 laps there on Izzy's car that are 151, and then you compare that to Globas's form has been metronomic. How does he have time to be this good and design cars that good as well, and the graphics and decals and everything that I know that he puts all the time into? He's absolutely on it this season, is Globas, and it could well be one hand on the trophy by the end of the race today. 6 minutes, of course, to go. Don't forget, we're going straight into GTD, the GT4 teams. race. Wouldn't it be nice to have them all on track at the same time, even for 2 hours? It'd be great to have multi-class racing. That is top of my wish list for GT7 to add before the end of its lifespan. But we've been on this many cars since the dawn of online racing with Gran Turismo. It really is time that we added some extra capacity on those servers. Especially, I mean, even if you restricted it to region or something, we could then still have really big fields like we can in ACC, LMU, and so on. Globus ahead of Izzy and Preston. I'm comparing them rather than iRacing because those are, relatively speaking, similar price points for games and ongoing costs. Here comes Globus across the line to start his 29th racing lap. Globus, 5 minutes on the clock, so further, I want to say further 3 laps. Here is Izzy. And then we have Preston in third. These drivers completing their laps. It's been a very calm race for a lot of the races. I don't think I've had quite such a contact-free and an overtaking-free race, given that there are such long straightaways here as well. I think the heavy damage has really put the frighteners on everybody, and they've been extremely careful and well behaved. Completely unavoidable situation earlier on for TX as we replayed and T-boning the NASA Lamborghini Space Cowboys driver, but there's really nothing he could do, especially as he had Junkai partially blocking his view of what that car was up to in its spin. Junkai in 6th, K Morris in 7th, and TX in 8th place. TX 8 seconds back from K Morris, that's why we can't see him further back. Here is Chaotica, 4.3 from 8th place. Personal best, that lap for him. Always makes team bosses scratch their heads a little bit if you get a personal best in your final 4 minutes of the race. But the fuel is burning off, you have to admit. Astonishing in 10th, Mack in 11th. Fighting hard. Astonishing has got himself off the bottom of the heap here today with just under 3.5 minutes still to go in the race. 7 seconds is the lead for Globus, who is pacing himself now and watching that gap to the car behind. There is his first real slow lap. Globus, a 1:52 on lap 28. Now 29 goes through. Is another 1:50 from him. 1 minute. Who's on soft tyres too? Astonishing, yes. Absolutely. Looks like he's going to be good to get home as well on those soft tyres. Thanks, then. Globus, 7 seconds. Kuroskai saying, I guess it's up to GTD to make a huge mess of things. Yeah, absolutely. So it's what we need. Big old mess at Monza. It's Izzy, 2.2 seconds ahead of his teammate. I think that's the largest that the gap between the two teammates has been once they got out of the traffic. So Izzy has been putting in some really tidy lap times, probably averaging better than Globus since the pit stops, given that Globus just put in that 1:52 on lap 28. A 49.889 from Preston, the fastest race lap. Now that is pretty special because that's been done in comparison to all but the top 3 in qualifying. That is a faster time for Preston on race fuel, race trim, and on the medium tyres. To my information anyway, Preston has not used the softs through the course of the race here. So that really is very, very special. This then the penultimate lap of the race. We'll be getting the white flag next time across. And you can see a little speech bubble there on the side of Globus's car. I don't know if I've given it quite the amount of screen time that it deserves, but it says, "Hey Deviants, let's party like it's 1776." So yeah, very, very cool. So much detail on here that he hand builds most of the time as well. I'm sure he's borrowed a few stickers from the big GT7 sticker box, but I know he has made his own ones, like that featuring Webbo comms down there on the rear quarter as well. I'm hoping he'll share that with me at some point so that I can use that, or other drivers who want to use my logos can do so. Izzy in second, coming through in a good lick of time. We've got some close running here in the midfield. Fifth is Jann Aussie is in the Ferrari in sixth, and then we've got K Morris in the second of the Chevys. We know the Chevy can go around this racetrack quickly. I wish all drivers put their names on the windscreen banner as well. I think that'd be very cool as a standard. Nice little red Webbo sticker on the back of the Ferrari as well. You can just see that from K Morris's eye view as we come through, just below the right-hand tail light on K Morris's view of life here. But we are getting ready almost for the final sector of the race from Glovas's point of view as he comes into view there under the Brembo bridge, which helps you position yourself for braking points into Ascari. Exit out of Ascari, he'll breathe a big sigh of relief because Ascari can still make you come unstuck. The gap has dropped to just below 7 seconds as we come to the end of the race, but Glovas has been absolutely mighty today and various points through the season as well. He's valued his comic book livery at 10 cents, but I think it's going to be worth a lot more now. It's a race winner. Here he is in Monza, winning round 5 of the championship. Goes to Glovas, Izzy in second, and Preston for a great job for their team at this Monza round as well. Comacopa, another strong performance from the Frenchman in P4. And then we have Jann coming through for a 4.5 for the ODs here as well in the Lexite. K Morris is trying to stay ahead of Aussie. I think he will do so, but Aussie will take him very, very close there. It's K Morris in 6th, Aussie in 7th, TX Speedstars, despite picking up damage for about a third of the race distance, is going to bring the car home comfortably in 8th place. Chaotica home in 9th. And then we have Astonishing coming through next up to come through. Zen saying that he is quick here. Okay, Zen, great. Why aren't you here racing then? Exactly. Astonishing in 10th, and then Makina will finish in 11th behind him. But it is going to be Glovas. I'll just double check actually, because sometimes drivers do crash through Parabolica the last time here. Astonishing on the soft tyres, out of fuel, but he's going to get to the line before that becomes a problem. Astonishing in 10th, Makina in 11th in the Super Sub roll. Glovas your winner though in this beautiful new comic book livery. It's now a collector's item, I've decided, so we're going to need to wrap it in plastic and store it for future generations. Glovas victory and pole position, maximising his run there, and there are your provisional results prior to any instant reports coming through to any kind of penalties. It's Glovas, Izzy, Preston, your podium ahead of Comacopa, Jann K Morris, Aussie, and TX Speedstars in 8th. Chaotica's 9th, Astonishing Makina finishing up the race order. Thanks to Saito for a safety car cameo, and to everybody who's been watching that. Okay, it certainly says I am quick there, says on end, but it's been auto-corrected, I'm guessing. You just say that so often, clearly your phone wants you to make that comment. Anyway, big thanks to everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, tips are open if you want to send anything my way, but we'll get the next stream up very quickly. We'll see you over there, but for now, from Deviant, from me, Webbo, thanks for watching, and we will catch you on the next race day.